Hey there, I'm Brenda from Marina Cove Kitchen. How can I help you today?
Hey, yeah, I'm looking to make a booking for a friend's birthday coming up tomorrow, if that's all right.
Certainly, I can help you with that. To begin, may I please have your full name?
Yeah, it's Tom Hartnell.
Thank you, Tom Hartnell. Could you please spell out your first and last names for me?
Yeah, so Tom is just Tom, and my surname Hartnell is Hartnell.
Thank you, Tom. And what is your phone number, please?
It's 07491234 567.
Thank you. So that is 07491234 567. Is that correct?
Yeah, spot on.
Great. Now, could you please provide your email address, spelling it out clearly for me?
Yeah, it's Tom Hartnell at yahoo.com.
Thank you. So that is TOMHARTNELL at yahoo.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent. And for how many people will this reservation be, please?
Let's say 10 people.
Thank you. And what is the occasion for this reservation? You mentioned it is for a friend's birthday, is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's his birthday. It's 21st.
Thank you. Do you or anyone in your party have any dietary needs, such as halal requirements, allergies, vegetarian or vegan preferences?
Yeah, so two people eat halal food, and there's one person that's got a dairy allergy.
Thank you for letting me know. I will make a note of the two halal requirements and the dairy allergy. Do you have any other questions or concerns at this time?
Yeah, what's the parking like nearby?
Parking in central London can be limited. There is Q Park, Oxford Street, which is about a 3-minute walk away, and limited paid street parking is available after 6:30 p.m. There are also multiple taxiways nearby.
Okay, cool. What about calamari? Is calamari on your menu?
Yes, we do have calamari fritti on our menu as a starter.
Okay, amazing.
Do you have a date and time in mind for your reservation? You mentioned it is for tomorrow, November 22nd. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd like to do 4 p.m. if that's possible, please.
Checking availability for you now. I am sorry, Tom. It seems that 4 p.m. is not available tomorrow. We do have availability at 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. Would either of those times work for you?
Yeah, 5 p.m. would be great, actually.
Perfect. Let me confirm the details for you. You would like a reservation for Tom Hartnell for 10 people for a birthday celebration tomorrow, November 22nd at 5 p.m. 2 guests require halal options and 1 has a dairy allergy. For a group of 10 people and a birthday celebration, I will reserve the table for around 2 hours. Is all of that correct?
Yep, spot on.
Perfect. Let me secure that table for you now. Your reservation is confirmed. We look forward to welcoming you. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, that should be it. Thank you very much.
Great. We look forward to welcoming you. Have a wonderful day.
Cheers, thank you.
You are most welcome.
I created this voice agent to help restaurants make $22,500 per month. This whole workflow was built within N8N and ElevenLabs and took no more than 1 to 2 hours. It can be used as an out-of-hours service as an AI receptionist for restaurants to recover any lost leads or customers that they may have missed out on. Doing some quick maths, if a restaurant can recover 3 leads a day with an average spend of $50, this results in $150 saved per day. If we extrapolate this over 5 times a week, that's $750 per week and a whopping of $22,500 per month. If you imagine how much money is left on the table for restaurants and businesses that can't answer these calls out of hours. There's millions and millions of dollars that could be grabbed here just by implementing simple AI systems like this. So I'm going to break down how I built this whole N8N and ElevenLabs workflow so you can make this for yourself and also adjust it for your specific use case and for any restaurants or businesses that you might want to create something similar for. But if you want to copy this exact N8N workflow that I've created, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, go to the comments and click template, and I'll go ahead and message this to you. Okay, enough talking now. Let's jump straight into the build. There are two parts to this workflow, really. There is the ElevenLabs agent, which sits over the phone and takes in the calls from the customer and processes all this information. And then we've actually got the backend operations agent, if you like, that calls all the necessary tools and makes the bookings, gets the availability, logs the customer details when we need to. So there's two parts to this, really. So to start with, we're actually going to go over to ElevenLabs and create our agent on the call side, first of all. Once you get to ElevenLabs, you want to create an account. It's pretty easy. And head on over to the dashboard. And then we want to go to the agents platform section. Once you've got here, you want to actually go ahead and create a new agent over here. And we want to do a business agent. Then we want to go ahead and click food and beverage here. Scheduling. And yeah, you can call this what you want, but obviously for our case, I called it a dummy name, which was Marina Cove Kitchen Reservation Agent. But you can call this what you want to. Leave the website empty and just leave this as help. And go ahead and click Create Agent. Before we get into the details of how we structure the prompts and connect the tools we want to connect together, there are some small bits that we can look at first. So we can select the voice you want. So this is the basic default one that's selected.
Just complaint his poverty.
Quite generic, but yeah, you can go ahead and select multiple different voices here. You can actually go ahead and clone your own voice as well, which I have done. I'll spare you listening to that, but you can clone multiple voices. So if you wanted to clone the restaurant owner's voice, for example, that might be something you want to look into, but you can select whatever voice here that, most suits your needs. Then we have the LLM that we want to use for our agent. Generally, the default option is pretty good. It's a good mix between speed and accuracy. So here it's selected Gemini 2.5 Flash, but you can select various other ones if you want to, GPTs, Claude, custom LLMs, whatever you want. And the next part that we want to look into is actually the knowledge base. So this is what the agent or the voice agent is going to have as knowledge it can refer to. So for us, in our case, we're going to have the menu as one PDF it can refer to and general information on the other. So things like parking, how to get there, things like that. So we go ahead and click knowledge base, add document. I've already added these in here. So general information and a food and drinks menu, but you can just drag and drop these into your space. I'll copy these PDFs into the description as well. Then once you've added them in, it should look something like this. So this is for our central London store, the Marina Cove Kitchen, and here's the food and drinks menu over here. Heading back over to the agent now, this is where we're going to get into the real nitty-gritty of how we build this voice agent. Click on the system prompt first of all. ElevenLabs actually fills out with a pretty generic structure for how to have your agent prompted, but we're going to go ahead and remove all of this, and I'm going to paste in the prompt I have used for the restaurant. So if you scroll up to the top, you can actually see this is a pretty lengthy prompt, but it needs to be accurate and kind of deal with all of these edge cases that we might experience when dealing with customers. Now, just going over the prompt, there's a rough structure to it. So it has the general personality of the agent that we want to adopt. So this is going to be Brenda, a female speaking, slow and warm voice for Marina Cove Kitchen. Some details on how we want the voice agents to talk. Then we've inputted the environment and what tools Brenda has available to use. So this is what Brenda can use on the back end in our N8N workflow to actually take action on some of the context that she's going to gather in the calls. We then have some knowledge base access, so the context for the restaurant that she has available to. The current date and time so that it can accurately book reservations for our restaurant. Tone and behavior, again, how we want the AI voice agent to talk across the phone. And then a quite important part now is the call flow. So this is kind of the steps that we want the voice agent to take during these calls. So first, it identifies if they want to make a reservation, which we do. And then it's goes to the part where we want to collect all the mandatory information. So the name, phone number, email address, party size, occasion, dietary needs, questions or any concerns. And then a really important part here to make sure that we're consistent with our voice agent is to confirm information. So make sure we've got the right number, the right email address, the right name, things like that. So when we send out any confirmation emails, if we want to add that to our workflow, it's going to send to the right person. Then we have some guidance for the voice agent on how long to set these reservations for, depending on kind of the party size. Then we get into asking the customer for what date and time they actually want to make these reservations for. And this is the information the voice agent is going to use to send over to NAN to find what times we have available. If we don't have times available, we want to come back and ask the customer if certain other times are okay with them, or if the time they've asked for originally is available, go ahead and book that. Once we've confirmed the date and time that we want to book for, we have the confirm and book section here, and this will allow us to call the correct tool and go ahead and create that reservation in our booking system. Then a few other miscellaneous parts of the prompt here of just, not to repeat themselves, how to close the call and things like that. We have another tool here. I'm going to get into all the details on the tools that we need for this scenario, so don't worry. But one of the tools we have is a backend operation for the restaurant to log customer details, not for the booking, just customer details in the future if they want to do any campaign outreach or anything like that. And we want to make sure this is, not mentioned to the customer, not because it's something that's wrong to do, but it's just not something that we need to say, we're booking your appointment now, or we're booking your reservation now, etc. We can just do this in the background. And then finally, how we want to end the call and any technical issue handling. If one of the tools fails to call, then we want to say, we don't have, or we can't connect to the tool at the moment, or we can't connect to the booking system at the moment. I can note down something for the manager, etc. Guardrails and the tools that we have available here, which I'm going to get into more detail on what these are and how we build these in this voice agent. Again, if you want this full prompt, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, go to the comment section and hit template, and I will go ahead and send this over to you for you to just copy and paste in. Then after we fill out the prompt, we want to go ahead to the first message area, which is, as you would imagine, the first message that the voice agent is going to say when it receives a call. We can just put this as anything generic really, but I'm just going to put it as what I had in my voice agent before, which is, hey, I'm Brendan from Marina Cove Kitchen. How can I help? So pretty basic. Don't want anything too complicated here. And those are all the prompts that we're going to need for our agent here. So all that's left to do on ElevenLabs is go to the tools section. And this is where we're actually going to set up all the tools that we want to use for our agent. Now, if you're not familiar, tools are something that AI agents can use to take action based on context they would have been given. So, for example, now that they would have found the customer's information, email, booking details, etc., they want to go ahead and check for times available, or they want to go ahead and create a booking, or they want to log customer details. So the three tools that we're going to be using in our case, but tools in general are any actions that an AI agent wants to take. So once our voice agent has all the context it needs to call on the tools, we want to go and send that information to our backend restaurant's operations agent, which can go ahead and actually take those actions and then report back to the voice agent. So breaking down the workflow a little bit here, the voice agent will send its tool call once it's got the information it needs. So to the webhook. So it will say, I want to check availability. And to check availability, we're going to need a few details. We're going to need, for example, the time of the booking that we want, the date, some details about the booking, etc. So once it's got all that information, we're going to send that to the webhook. That's going to go to our agent, which is then going to call our get availability tool. And it's the same thing for the other tools that we have. So once the voice agent's got all the details it needs to create a booking, it will go ahead and send this message to the webhook, to this agent, and then this will go to create a booking tool, and the same thing for the last tool, which is our logging customer details. So going back over to ElevenLabs now, we want to add those tools that we want to call when we've got the right context to send over to NAN. So you want to go ahead and hit the add tool button, and I've got these tools available here, which I've already created, but I'll go through them step by step how you build it. So you want to hit add webhook tool. And then you want to create a name for your tool. So we're going to call ours Get Availability Marina Cove. And the description is just going to be for yourself on what this tool does. So checks availability for customer booking. Then we want to change the method to a post method. And the URL here, to get this, we're going to need to go back over to NAN and copy that from our webhook. So in our NAN workflow, the first node you want to add is a webhook node. So go ahead and add that in, and double click on that. And the URL that you want to post into your ElevenLabs tab is this module here. So you want to go ahead and just click it to copy it to your clipboard. So this is the test one, but you can copy the production one as well when you want to make this go live. Make sure this is on the post method here, and then go back over to ElevenLabs. Go ahead here and hit paste. Go ahead and paste that into your ElevenLabs tab. So I just realized that I made a mistake here on the description. This actually goes to the LLM and describes to the LLM how we want to use the tool. So I'm going to go ahead and paste the description I've used in the tool that I already created a little bit earlier. But yeah, we want to put this in as returns the availability on the Marina Cove kitchen calendar for the given timestamp. If there's availability, this tool will get back true. Then once we've done that, we can scroll down, skip all these sections here, and go to the body parameters part. And then for the description, we're just going to copy the same thing that we had before into there. Now we're going to the most important part of the tool, and we're going to add all of the properties that are going to be needed before we can call this tool back over in our NAN agent. So the first one we want to add is the duration, and this is how long the booking is going to be for. Go ahead and hit required, and then copy into the description what this is. So the duration of the reservation being requested. And that's our first property done. Now we want to add another one, which is timestamp. Also want to hit the required tick box, and this is the starting timestamp for the booking that we want to check if there's availability for. So if the customer wants to book at 5 p.m. on a Saturday, for example, it will check that this is the correct timestamp. And then the final property we want to add is tool. Now, this isn't actually essential, but it helps make sure that the right tool is called in our NAN workflow. Without this, it can be a little bit temperamental and call the wrong tool at the wrong time. So we're going to leave this as required, and then put the description, and then change the value type to constant value. And this is always going to be get_availability. And the reason this is called get availability is because this is the name of the tool in our NAN workflow. So if we go back to our NAN workflow, we can see here we've got a tool called get availability. So when we call that tool from our ElevenLabs AI agent, it's going to make sure that we call the right tool here that we want. And that is the first tool created. We want to go ahead and hit add tool. And then we want to get ahead into making our other tools that we have. So same process, add tool, add webhook tool. Now this one's going to be called create booking Marina Cove. And in the description, we want to replace this with what the tool does. So this tool is going to create an appointment for the given timestamp and customer name. So once we've found an available slot using our other tool, we're then going to call this tool to actually go ahead and make that booking. Again, we want to have a post request and make sure the URL is the same as the one you copied in the other tool. Then scrolling down to the body parameters here, I'm going to go ahead and put our properties in for this tool. But before we do that, let's just fill in the description, which is going to describe to the LLM what these body parameters are. So necessary context for the create booking tool. So we're going to have a start timestamp. We're going to have a customer name. We're going to have a party size, an occasion, and again, the tool that we want to call. So starting with the first property, we're going to have this as the start timestamp. It's going to be required. We're going to leave the value type as LLM prompt. And we're going to change the description to what it is. So it's the starting timestamp for the booking that we're looking to make. Then we want to go down, change this next one to party size. Leave this as required. Leave the value type as LLM prompt. And then we want to change the description to how many people we're expecting at this booking. So go ahead and copy that in. That's the expected number of people to attend the reservation. And the next one is the duration of the booking, which we fill out there. Leave that value type as LLM prompts, again required. And then going to add our final property. Sorry, not our final property. Our next property is going to be occasion. And this is going to be the occasion for the bookings for. So a birthday, a wedding after party, whatever it may be. And these details that we're going to get from the customer that's calling. Leave this as LLM prompt. And we'll add our next one. And this is going to be the customer's name. Again, leave that as required, an LLM prompt. And this is the full name of the customer making the reservation. Then our next one is going to be dietary needs. This is required, LLM prompt again. Description, any dietary requirements the person booking or the party may have. And then finally, we have the tool that we want to call. So we're going to leave that as required, put it as constant value. We're going to put this as create a booking. Now make sure you've got the spelling on this constant value correct, as this isn't going to be AI generated. This is going to be directly fed into your agent on the NAN backend. So making sure this is spelt right is going to be kind of critical, and making sure that you call the right tool from the agent in NAN. Then once you fill all that out, you can go ahead and click add tool here. And you can see this will fill out in my agent tools section here. So now I've got a create booking tool and I've got a get availability tool. Go ahead and hit save. And now we want to add in our final tool, which is to log the customer details into a Google Sheet. So same process, add tool, add a webhook tool. And we're going to call this log customer details Marina Cove. And then I'm just going to paste in the description I have for the tool that I already created. It just describes to the LLM what this tool is, which is logging the customer details, including their full name, number, and email, any questions or concerns they have at the end of a successful booking. Again, a post request and the same URL used for the other two tools. And going down to the body parameters, I'm going to fill out this description with all of the different properties that this tool is going to require. So we're going to have a start timestamp. We're going to have a customer name, a customer phone number, customer email, any questions or concerns, and the tool that we want to call on our NAN workflow. Now we want to have our start timestamp as our first property. Leave this to required, LLM prompt, and paste in this description here. Then our next one wants to be the customer phone number. And in our description, we're just going to put in that this is the customer's phone number. We can scroll down to make our next identifier. And this is going to be the customer email. So I'm going to leave this all the same as before. Put the description in of what it is. Then our next one is going to be the customer name. So we're going to fill that out. Everything here the same as before. Just want to change the description of what this is. And it's the full name of the customer who's making this reservation. So we're going to go ahead and fill that out. We've already had it here, but it's been pre-filled out because I've made this tool before. But we'll go ahead and change this to what our next one is, which is the occasion. So we're going to paste in the occasion there. And we're going to describe this to the agent as the occasion for the customer's reservation. And if there isn't one, we want to leave it as NA or not applicable. So if it's just, a normal dinner or whatever it may be. Then our next one is customer questions and concerns. And these are any concerns or questions the customer may have had when making their booking. So if they ask about parking, or if they ask about something specific on the menu, or if there are any halal food available or things like that. Again, if there's nothing, then this should just be left as NA. And then finally, we want to go ahead and put our tool in that we want to call. So change this to constant value, and this wants to be called log customer details. And again, this is because this is the exact name of the tool in our NAN workflow. As you can see here, tool over here. And then finally, you want to hit add tool. And now you can see that you've got the three tools in our agents tool area like we wanted. So we've got a tool to check the availability of the booking that the customer wants. We've got a tool to create the booking, and now we've got a tool to log those customer details into our restaurant's backend. So if we want to do any marketing outreach or any campaigns, things like that. Amazing. Now that's pretty much everything that we need to do in ElevenLabs. You can go ahead and set a time zone if you want, for wherever it may be. So for us, it's London. So, for me, it's London. So go ahead and hit London there. But that is pretty much everything that you're going to need. Everything else is just small tweaks that you're going to make to, if you want it to sound a certain way, or if you want the context windows to be a little bit longer. But that's pretty much everything that we need to do in ElevenLabs. So we're going to head on over to NAN now and build that whole workflow out. Now, after our webhook that we added in earlier, we want to add in an AI agent. I've just called this restaurant agent. And we want to fill out a few fields here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is change this to be defined below instead of connected to a chat trigger node, because we're triggering a webhook. It's not from a direct chat. And in the prompt user message here, we want to fill in this area with this bit of text here. So this is just going to make all of the JSON that is getting sent over by the webhook into a string so the AI agent can read it. And then we want to scroll down and fill in our system message for the AI. So this is all the instructions that our AI agent is going to take on. So if we go ahead and open this up, you can see, similar to the ElevenLabs agent, it's pretty lengthy to make sure that we can deal with all of these different edge cases. Now, these prompts are actually, this one and the ElevenLabs one, are where you're actually going to spend a lot of your time tweaking and making adjustments to try and cover all cases, really. And this is where the majority of your work is going to be put into. So I'll go over a quick overview of what this prompt looks like. So similar to the ElevenLabs one, we have a role that we want the AI agent to take on. The context about the restaurant that we have here, closing times, opening times, things like that. What the agent's responsibilities are, the main flows of what we want the agent to take. So first, check if there's availability. Then once we find the availability, to create a booking, and then the logging the customer details in the back end. And this is why we actually had that tool parameter in our webhook tools that we just made in ElevenLabs, because it's going to check the tool that is being sent over in the JSON body and make sure that it calls the correct tool that we want in our NAN workflow here. Then scrolling down, we have the tools that it has available. So the get availability tool, create the booking tool, log the customer details tool, and just some details about this and the JSON body that's going to receive when that's called from our ElevenLabs agent. And then some more description to the AI agent on how to make sure it uses the correct tool. And you'll see here that it says call think to map the fields correctly, and we'll go into what that actually is in a second. And then the rest of it are just further details on how to use the tools and the format that we're going to want to receive this in for when we check different things. So like when the bookings, or when we've got some space in our booking system, sorry. Now, like you can see, and as I mentioned, this is quite a lengthy prompt. So again, if you want access to all these prompts in this template, just go ahead, hit the subscribe button, comment template in the comment section, and I'll go ahead and send this over to you, as this can take quite a while to actually make yourself. And then once we've filled out all the system prompts that we need for our AI agent, we want to go ahead and add all the necessary components that we need to make this work. So the first thing that we're going to need is a model. Now you can kind of select what you want for this, but you want something that has good balance between being fast and being accurate. And the Gemini 2.5 Flash, which is the same one we use for our ElevenLabs one, is a pretty good middle ground for this. So that's what I've gone ahead and selected. You can connect your Google account pretty easily and then go ahead and select the model that you want. We've added a memory module in here, and we actually want our context window to be pretty long. So we want to make sure that we've stored like a lot of interactions that the user may have, as this conversation can actually go on for quite a while. There's a few things we need to gather. We need to gather details about their name, email, number, what their booking is, if there's any special dietary requirements, things like that. So it can actually end up being quite a long interaction. And then, like I mentioned in the prompt, we have a think module. So if we go ahead and click on this, what this is pretty much a tool that the AI agent can use to make sure it thinks deeply about something. It's a bit of a weird concept. You're telling a computer to, stop, think, and reason about what tool it wants to use. So this is a tool that we want to add in. So it's pretty simple to do. If you just go ahead and click tool, and then you type in think, you can add in the think tool here. And we want to add in this description here. So just use the tool to think about something. It will not obtain new information on its database, but just append the thought to the log. Use it when complex reasoning or some cache memory is needed. Now, after you've added in all of these three, we want to add in our three main tools here that we're going to be using throughout this workflow. So it's the create booking tool, the get availability tool, and the login customer details tool. So these two are Google Calendar tools, and this is a Google Sheets tool. Now, starting off first with our get availability tool, this is going to be the tool that's called first most of the time in our workflow. Go ahead and see how we build this. So if you just hit plus on the tool icon here and type in Google Calendar tool, this will pop up. And you want to connect your Google account here, leave this as set automatically, and then we want to change the resource to calendar. And there's a few different operations. Well, there's two different operations you can do. So you can go ahead and actually connect whatever calendar you want here. You can connect your own, or you can create a new calendar in Google Calendars for, a certain business, whatever it may be. But you want to go ahead and select the one you want here. And then there's a few different parameters we want to add into this box here. So the start time, we're going to let the model actually define that. We're going to add a description for it. So this is the start timestamp that we're going to make for the booking. And the end time, we're going to, again, let the model define this parameter, add a description, and we're going to put this as the end time will vary depending on the booking and should be asked of the customer. Then in our options, we want to go ahead and add a time zone quickly, and you can select what you want here. I'll just put London as that's the closest one to myself. Can't spell though. There you go. And then that is the first tool pretty much done. And then once you've created that tool, we want to make sure we call that get_availability and make sure the spelling is correct and is the same as what we put in our ElevenLabs tools. Now going on to our next tool, we have the create booking tool. Again, you just want to add a tool here, the Google Calendar one, and it's the same process. We want to connect our Google account, the tool description is set automatically, resources event, operation is create now. And this is where we're going to create a booking in our Google Calendar. So again, set up the calendar you want to connect. So Marina Cove Kitchen in this case. We're going to have the start time defined by the model automatically. And we'll describe this as the start time of the booking. The end time, again, defined by the model, and it's the end time for the booking. And we want to describe it that it's always going to be after the start time, which obviously seems obvious to us, but it's good to make clear to the AI. And then those are the main ones that we need, but we're going to add in some additional fields here. So the description, we're going to let AI define this, or we're going to let AI write this, automatically, but we're going to describe it as, some notes that needs to be just written down on the booking. So this is going to be if there's any allergies, or if there's halal food that's required, or, if someone's allergic to nuts, whatever the case may be. And you go ahead and actually, I'll show you from the demo call at the start of this video, how this got noted down in our Google Calendar. So from our Google Calendar here, from the booking earlier, you see it booked in successfully from 5 to 7 p.m. And there's it noted down successfully that there was 2 halal dietary requirements and 1 dairy allergy, which is what we wanted to note down. So this is what is going to be filled in by that description that we're making in the create a booking tool. And then the summary is going to be what is kind of the title of the event. So we're going to leave that. We want to let AI create this, but the description, we're going to influence how it creates this. We're going to have it in the form of it's a restaurant booking, the customer's name is, what the party size is, what the occasion is, and we described, what all of these different variables are. And then once you filled all that out, that's pretty much the second tool completed, and we just have our final log customer details tool. Now, what this tool does is it logs into our Google Sheets details of the call and the customer's details into a Google Sheet. So we've got a few different fields here to fill out. We've got the customer's name, we've got a call timestamp, phone number, email, occasion, questions and concerns, and when the booking is for. So if you want to go ahead and create this table in Google Sheets, this will then make sure that you can map up all these fields correctly when we create the tool in a second. Let's go into our NAN workflow. We want to hit add tool here, and we want to put in a Google Sheets tool. And we want to leave these three the same, this is your connection to your account. And then we want to append or update a row. And then we want to go ahead and just select the Google Sheet that we want. So we've got our Marina Cove Kitchen, and the sheet is called Bookings. And then we've got a few columns that we need to match up on. So using the column that we're actually going to use as our identifier, this is going to be the customer's name. And you can see it's actually filled out all of the values that we're going to send over to the sheet here. or it's identified what is in our table. So the first one is the customer name, and we're going to leave that AI to define that. And we're going to describe it as the name of the customer booking this reservation. For the call timestamp, we could let AI define this, but we're going to put in the JSON object here, which we would have had if we'd run this previously. So we would be able to drag and drop this from our webhook. But I've just gone ahead and copied and pasted it in here. We're going to leave this as now. So this is what timestamp would be for the call. We're going to add the customer phone number in here, let AI to define this and just describe this as the customer's phone number. Then we've got the customer email. Again, let AI define it, put a description in for how we want this to be and make sure it's in the correct format. Then our next one's the occasion. Again, let AI define it, add a description of what this is. So birthday, after party, for a wedding, whatever it may be. Questions and concerns. We're just going to add a description for. Any questions or concerns that the customer has. And then finally, the booking timestamp, we're going to let AI define that. And there's no real need to write a description for it. It's pretty obvious what it is. And then once that's done, that is everything you need for all the tools to get this workflow to run correctly. We just want to make sure that we name all of these tools exactly to what they are here. So create underscore booking, get underscore availability, and log underscore customer underscore details. And this is important as these are what we put in our ElevenLabs tool parameter and we call the tools that we want. And then finally, we want to add a module here, which is the respond to webhook module. So if you go ahead and type in here, respond, you can see that there's a respond to webhook module there, which you want to click on. And this is a really simple module. We just want to leave this as respond to with the first incoming item. And then once that is done, that is your whole workflow complete. And you can go ahead and test this out quickly if you want. But that is pretty much everything for how we build this workflow. So it can take quite a while to set up and make sure you get all the prompts structured exactly how you want to for both NAN and ElevenLabs. But it's a workflow that could be really useful if you own not even just a restaurant, but any type of hospitality business. It could be really useful in capturing any leads that may have got missed and fell through the cracks. So if you found this workflow useful, go ahead and please hit the like and subscribe button, and it will let me know that you want to see more of these types of videos in the future.